Afternoon, gentlemen. Your favorite commissioner, Justin, here, coming at you live from beautiful Jordan, Minnesota. Beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Beautiful time for a recap. For those of you who are new to the league or who don't know how this works, typically I come on every Tuesday to review the week that was, to go over the matchups, to see what you guys did right, what you guys did wrong, all that fun stuff, and just kind of give some little insights and some feedback on the matchups, as I said. So, anyways, we're just going to dive right into it as we do every year. And first off, we're going into what I would consider the biggest blowout of the week. So we have Matt versus Nick. And Matt, our reigning champion, as you all are aware, put up the weekly high score. So if that's any indication of how this year is going to go, he may be the first one to get the Empire pool. Because if he scores the highest score of the week every week, like he has done so far this year, I believe he's guaranteed to win the whole thing. He went up against Nick, who's put up the weekly low score. So, Matt, you kind of wasted a really good week on an inferior opponent. But let's take a look at the matchups and see what went down. Matt started Patty Mahomes for 33 points. He got 39 points out of Austin or Amari Cooper. Sorry, 17. No, sorry. We only do. Sorry, and I only again, for those of you who are new, and I kind of forgot as well. I only list off the players that got 20 points or more. Anyways, Travis Kelsey, 25 and a half points. Corey Davis, 26 and a half points, 27 points technically. The only player on his team that scored less than 10 points was his defense, which was Indianapolis. Yeah, I mean, when you have four players go above 25 points in your team, it's hard to lose. It's even harder to lose when your opponent puts up the fewest amount of points during the week, which is exactly what Too Many D's did. Only two players that he really had worth mentioning were Nick Chubb and Jamal Williams. They both had 22 and 25 points respectively. He was a little heavy. Nick was a little heavy on Green Bay players, so that should explain a lot. So, anyways, Matt is currently in first place. Nick is currently in 10th place. Moving on to the second matchup, we have Nate versus Corey. This one was a lot closer than that last one. And, sorry, while the computer loads here. That's one of the nice things about not having a job like you suckers do, is I get to just drink whenever I want. Come on. All right, Nate versus Corey. Nate took the victory in this one, 155 and a half to 130. Take a look at the matchup itself. Nate had Kyler Murray, 34 and a half points. Adam Thielen, 30 points. CeeDee Lamb, 23 points. Yeah, some top three guys on his lineup did awesome. Like I said, he got 155 points, which is pretty good on your average week. Corey had 130, which is about normal. It's about right around average, honestly, in this league. The only two players that he really had worth mentioning were DeAndre Hopkins and Tyler Lockett. Yeah, honestly, not a whole lot to divulge in this one. Yeah, just kind of your standard matchup. So, like I said, Nate came away with the victory there. He is in third place. Corey is in sixth place. So, if the playoffs started today, he would technically make it without a single victory, which is kind of cool if you could do that. I mean, more props to you. Next one we have up is Kilkenny Mudcats, Mike Martushik versus Matt Perkinson. Mike pretty easily got the win this week. I think he won by about almost 50 points, so good for him. That's pretty awesome. Let's take a look at the matchup as we always do. Dak Prescott had an awesome Thursday night game in that loss, 28 points. He had Cooper Kupp for 24 points, let's call it. He had Dalvin Cook for 20 points. Joe Mixon for 25 points. Only one player on his team did not score at least 10 points, which is exactly what Matt did, except Mike scored 25 points less than he did. Perk, who, according to the thing I was just looking at on our league, is already trying to trade away half his team, so that just shows how much faith he has in his players. Matt Stafford, 24 points. That was about it. He got okay performances out of some players and pretty subpar performances out of a lot of his players, which I think is pretty, telling of his time here with the league. I think this is his 10th year in the league, which there's only a few of us that have been around for 10 years, but he has yet to win it. There's been a lot of guys who have been around for a lot less years that have won it. So, I mean, again, trying to trade with his whole team, 108 points. If you got Perk in your lineup or your schedule, which everybody does at least once. Just count it as a W at this point. Next matchup, we have the newcomer Ben versus Mitch. And Ben, I mean, I think you see here in this matchup why Don left last year. It's very frustrating, and it can even cause you to lose your shit on the league when you lose to guys like Mitch. But Mitch has a very good team this year. I would say, if I had to rank his draft, honestly, I would put him towards the top. I mean, that's just, looking at it, without analyzing it or anything. Ben gets 110 points to Mitch's 165. Ben never had a chance in this one. Only player that he had really worth mentioning was something called Jamar Chase. And the only reason he did well is because he got a touchdown. So, I mean, pretty bad when, honestly, probably the worst guy in your lineup scores the most amount of points. Looking over at Mitch's team, got a lot of players to talk through. He appears to be the first player this week who did not have a player score single-digit points, which is pretty damn good. Tom Brady, 29 points. Christian McCaffrey, 27 points. He made it past week 1 this year, Mitch. Good for you. Darren Waller won off last night for 26.5 points. His defense got 17, which is always good for a defense. So Mitch gets the victory in that one, 165 points, puts him in second place. Ben is in 7th place with 110 points. He is out of the playoffs currently. And lastly, and again, to all you newcomers, we always save the matchup of the week for the final matchup that we review. And this week it is myself versus Brandon. And honestly, pretty pissed that I lost. I mean, if you look at my team, I think just about anybody in this league would say that I easily had the best draft, that I easily have the best players. And, they just didn't show up this week. But, honestly, a loss doesn't hurt nearly as much when you don't have to pay $5 for it. So, whatever. It is what it is. The only player that I had worth mentioning was my first round pick, Tyreek Hill, with 37 points. He might have been the high point getter of the week. I don't know. I only go through starters, and I didn't see Perk's bench. I'm sure Perk's bench had at least 3 guys on it that scored at least 30 points, including Deebo Samuel. 37 points out of Tyreek Hill. Of course, I was the unlucky one who drafted Ayuk, who did absolutely nothing last week. Never even had a target. Yeah. Robert Tonyan was a Green Bay player. I mean, basically, if you had Green Bay players on your team, you were screwed. Brandon didn't. So, I mean, really, that's why he won, is he didn't draft any Packers. If he would have had Adams or Devontae Adams on his team or something like that, he probably would have lost. But the nice thing is, Brandon, honestly, congratulations on the win. You had 141 points to my 103. You're in 5th place. You're literally the lowest guy that has a winning record right now in our league. So, good for you. But, I'm kind of glad that I got Brandon out of the way, because he is out. He's the first man out in our Guillotine League, so now he's going to have a lot more time to focus on this league. And I'm kind of glad to get that matchup out of the way, because, even though he beat me this week, he's going to have a lot more time to focus on his matchups next week. So, anyways, that's pretty much it. Let's just, since we got some extra time here, because I'm sure you guys have nothing better to do than watch me ramble on about nonsensical things. Next week's matchups, we have myself facing Nate. We have Brandon facing Ben. It could be an awkward ride into work next Tuesday if you guys happen to be on the same shift. Mike versus Mitch, Matt versus Corey, and Perk versus Nick. So good luck to everybody. I'm sure Nate will be spending lots of money on getting Raheem Mostert's back up. Unfortunately, Nate, all of Perk's wide receivers are the only thing that he's willing to... he's willing to trade wide receivers, running backs, and tight ends. So if anybody needs a quarterback, don't go to Perk. But, sorry. But yeah, so that's the recap for week 1. We will see you boys next Tuesday. Good luck.